Welcome back to Grow Books, where we explore books that can help you think differently, grow personally, and make better decisions in life and work. Today, we're looking at The First 90 Days by Michael D. Watkins, a book designed for anyone stepping into a new role, taking on more responsibility, moving into leadership, or simply trying to make a strong start in a new professional environment. Because when you start something new, enthusiasm alone isn't enough. Those first few months can shape how people see you, how quickly you learn, and ultimately how successful you become. So, what does the first 90 days teach us? The central idea of the book is simple. Transitions are critical periods. When you enter a new position, you're learning the job while simultaneously being judged on how well you perform it. That creates an interesting challenge. Move too slowly, and you may struggle to establish credibility. Move too quickly, and you risk making decisions before you understand the people, problems, and culture around you. Watkins argues that the goal is to reach what he calls the break-even point as quickly as possible. The point where you begin creating more value for the organization than you have consumed while getting up to speed. And that starts with learning. One of the strongest lessons from the first 90 days is the importance of resisting the urge to immediately prove yourself. When people enter a new role, especially after a promotion, there can be enormous pressure to demonstrate that they deserve to be there. But Watkins suggests that your first priority should be to understand the environment you've entered. What challenges does the organization face? What has already been tried? Who are the important people? What expectations does your boss have? And perhaps most importantly, why are things being done the way they are? Instead of arriving with all the answers, arrive with good questions. The faster you understand the situation, the better your decisions become. Another important idea is that not every new role should be approached in the same way. Watkins introduces the STARS framework, which describes 5 different business situations: startup, turnaround, accelerated growth, realignment, and sustaining success. Each situation requires a different approach. If you're taking over something that's failing, decisive change might be necessary. But if you're inheriting a successful team, immediately changing everything could actually make things worse. This is one of the book's most useful lessons. Understand what you're walking into before deciding how you're going to lead. Build the right relationship with your boss. Watkins also spends considerable time discussing something many career books overlook: managing your relationship with your new boss. Rather than waiting to discover what your boss expects, have the conversation. What are the priorities? How will success be measured? What problems need immediate attention? How often should you communicate? And where do you have freedom to make your own decisions? Clarifying expectations early can prevent months of confusion later. You don't want to reach day 90 only to discover you've been working hard on something your boss didn't consider important. Another major theme is creating early wins. But this doesn't mean trying to impress everyone with dramatic changes. Good early wins solve meaningful problems while building credibility. Perhaps there's a frustrating process you can improve. Maybe there's an issue the team has been dealing with for months. Or perhaps you can create clearer communication between people who haven't been working effectively together. Small victories create momentum. People begin to trust your judgment because they've seen evidence that you can make things better. Success in a new role isn't just about what you know. It's also about who you understand and who trusts you. Watkins encourages readers to identify the people who influence their ability to succeed: colleagues, team members, senior leaders, and other stakeholders. Don't wait until you need someone's help before building that relationship. Listen to people. Understand their priorities. Learn where resistance might come from, and build alliances around the changes you're trying to make. Leadership becomes much easier when people understand where you're going and why. Perhaps one of the quieter lessons in the first 90 days is also one of the most important. Transitions are demanding. You're processing enormous amounts of new information while trying to perform at a high level. That makes it easy to become reactive. Watkins encourages leaders to create routines, maintain perspective, and recognize their own strengths and weaknesses. The habits that made you successful in your previous role won't necessarily make you successful in the next one. Sometimes moving forward means letting go of the way you've always done things. The First 90 Days isn't really a book about your first 3 months at work. It's a book about how to handle change intelligently. Learn before acting. Understand the situation you're entering. Clarify expectations. Build relationships. Create meaningful early wins. And adapt your leadership style to the challenge in front of you. If you're starting a new job, stepping into management, receiving a promotion, or taking responsibility for a new team, this is the kind of book that's worth reading before your first day rather than after your first problem. Because you don't need to know everything when you walk through the door. You need to know how to learn quickly, where to focus, and how to build momentum. Thanks for watching Grow Books. If you enjoyed this The First 90 Days book summary, please give the video a like, subscribe for more book summaries and reviews, and let us know in the comments what book you'd like us to cover next. And as always, check the description below for helpful links and more books worth discovering. I'll see you in the next one.